I want to show you some of the protests that have been happening today. So let's switch to our Jennifer Dowling, who is live at the scene tonight that continues to play out in front of the Justice Center. Jem?
Good evening. There are hundreds of people here lining the fence around the Justice Center that was put up to protect it after 5 or 6 nights of protests, and some of them damaging protests. You can see that there are hundreds of people lining the fence. The police reported at around 9:45 or 10 o'clock that the crowd had swelled to around over 1,000 as a protest group joined a group that was already here. Large numbers of people. Police also tweeting out that there were children in the crowd and asking protesters to be peaceful. They also announced that on the megaphone. We also heard on the megaphone about an hour ago police on their bullhorns saying this was an unlawful assembly. We haven't heard that in a while. That may have been due to some criminal activity that police said they were seeing on 3rd and Jefferson. We did not see that ourselves, so I'm not sure exactly what type of criminal activity that was, if there were projectiles being thrown or if it was graffiti, some of the typical things that we see when crowds get to this size, and some people in the crowds decide to take some destructive action. New tonight, we have lights up around the Justice Center so that police can see the crowds. The fences have remained up, though. There are police lining them, and they're actually having conversations with people. We've seen officers talking to protesters in the crowd. Sometimes they've looked like friendly conversations, and sometimes the protesters are just too agitated to have a conversation with them, but we have seen them speaking to some people. We talked to some protesters earlier as they marched across the Morrison Bridge. That was a very peaceful protest that started in Southeast Stark and 13th Street at Revolution Hall on the lawn outside that building. It was very peaceful, a lot of people there, a very good energy. They walked from the southeast side across the Morrison Bridge, kneeled in the middle of the bridge with their hands up, gave some speeches there, kneeled for 9 minutes in memory of George Floyd, then marched on through to the waterfront where that natural bowl is by the Hawthorne Bridge. There were so many people. The announcer said the bowl was full. That's how many people were marching today with that peaceful group. They had their speeches, and then they wrapped up earlier this evening, a few hours ago. Some of those folks moved on and marched back to the southeast side and went home. Some of them joined a group that was already here down at the Justice Center. But I want you to take a listen to some of the people that were out marching today as part of that peaceful protest. This is what they had to say.
We can't afford not to march. We can't. There were people that lost their blood before us, people losing their blood today, and we have to.
I almost started crying because it's just like there's so many people that support me. Like, I go to a predominantly white school, and a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing or what I'm going through. But I just think it's like really overwhelming to see all these people that support us as a community.
I'm happy. This is the most unity I've seen in a very long time.
I'm out here for my children. I feel like their safety and their lives matter to me.
And police also tweeted out tonight that some people had been trying to tamper with the fence and had also been pointing lasers at officers, and they asked them not to do that and to keep the protest peaceful. I did not see any of that activity happening, but it could be in the crowd somewhere. It's a huge crowd. There's lots of folks here, many holding signs. I've also heard people chanting peaceful protest when things start to get heated. So the crowd has wavered from a little bit agitated to peaceful once again several times when everyone chanted that slogan, peaceful protest. I've seen that help out before in keeping tensions down when the crowd starts getting in on that. So we'll see if that continues. We're going to keep an eye on it here throughout the 11 o'clock show and maybe beyond that to make sure that things do stay calm. But for now, we haven't seen some of the activity that we've seen over the past 5 or 6 days when things get really wild down here. Back to you in the studio.